Hey there, it's Sunday morning, and I just released a video on making this new and improved, greatly improved actually, router template. And one of the really neat features of this is that it has rulers. So you can select the size perfectly. Now, I said this in the first video, the first version of this that I made, which, even while I was making it, I was thinking of ways to, and I said that in this video, ways to improve it, but you don't use this thing very often. But when you do need it, it's really, really, really handy to have something ready to go. Otherwise, you're trying to double-side tape down scraps of wood all over the place, and you're making multiple measurements, whereas this, you can size it exactly according to the dimensions right here on the thing, right? And get it ready. Then you can clamp it down to the stock or double-side tape it, whatever works, and route it out. And if it's like a big recess like this, so you have a big inlay to put in, you do the border, of course, and then you take this away and you do the inside, right? So, yeah, handy to have, not hard to make. This was made 100% from scraps, which I cleaned up yesterday and spent most of the day out here actually cleaning up, and burnt 4 of those big garbage cans full of scrap wood. And I still have too much scrap wood. So I need to make a few more projects like this. Maybe I should make some CNC projects, because I went ahead and did that. I got the CNC mounted on the wall, like I talked about, I think, in the last video. And I also took the time, because I finished this almost 2 weeks ago. Okay, so, and I talked about that as well in the last video. So I really, I was ahead of the game and I had time. So I messed around with this. And what I did is I got it up on the wall, got it all straight and all that. And I also took the original slats off and I cut about 1/4 inch off the surface, so they'd be thinner. And then I put them back on a machine here. And then I glued on another layer of 1/2 inch MDF on top of them. And that's what you see right here. And that gave me the thickness to surface it. The original slats were just proud of those aluminum hold down bars, which are very handy. So you really couldn't surface it properly. This adds about 1/4 inch to the original thickness of the bed. And also I was able to machine it nice and flat. And that was my first time running the machine, so I know that it works well. Now I did have a lot of messing around trying to deal with the wires that come from the gantry. And that's, to run the spindle and also to control it, to turn it off and on and adjust the speed and all that. So originally on the old thing that I had down there, I made that drag chain, which I happen to have right here. I made this wooden drag chain, and that worked really well, except it didn't, you really need 2 of these for that thing, because I was still having problems with, if the gantry was moving backwards, the cords could hang down and then get in the cutting path. All right, so you really need 2 of these. You need one on top of the gantry and you need one down the side so that it guides that cable, back and forth wherever it travels. And originally I had this up here, but it was sagging down too much and it was going the wrong direction. I mean, it had the wires going out the other end. So rather than trying to mess with this and maybe make another drag chain, I came up with a counterweight system to hold the hose that I have the wires put in. And I have the hose clamped to the Z-axis thing that you see here, and clamped on the top of the machine on the other end, so that they stay stationary and the hose can move in between with the wires inside. And it works really well. So like I said, I spent most of yesterday out here cleaning up, And I know that it kind of doesn't look like it because I still have junk laying all over the place, but I did make real progress. I was able to get all the sheets, you know, the 3 sheets of melamine that were up here, plus the other part of the 1/2 inch MDF that I didn't use on the CNC. I brought them down here, right behind me. And I was able to take all of the Baltic birch plywood, because I bought a large quantity of Baltic birch plywood back when it was available more readily. And I don't know if I can get the same deal on it, but I got a pretty good deal on it. So I took advantage of that and I got a bunch of sheets and I got those down there as well. Right? And that still gives me room to put this table in. But I moved this table out into this area and really it seems like it's too big for here. I don't know, I was picturing it differently in there. It's just, I can make it work, okay? But I'm thinking that what's going to happen with it is that if I leave it here, or even if I park it down there, it's going to get cluttered up. I'm going to be too tempted to put stuff there. Like I put these drawer fronts that I've been keeping. These are on the on some other thing. Well, these came from, like, these went through two different projects, and I'm looking for a third one to put them on. Anyway, I've been keeping them, and like I say, I just dropped them here. And you can see I got a pile of plywood over there that's just, like, it's almost ready to jump onto this table. So it's gonna collect more stuff. I know it. I know it will. So I'm thinking instead, like, would it be worthwhile to mount this so that it folds down? Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of anything that folds down or flips over or any of this stuff, but there are exceptions, and I think that this might be one of them. If I can make this solid enough and have it mounted on this door right here so it folds down when I need it, and in particular, the times that I would need it is for assembling something larger. No, this is not huge, but it's a lot bigger. Like, it's a lot wider than my workbench. I talked about that before. But also, it would be the same height as my table saw, and it would assist if I have bigger, like a full sheet of plywood that I want to cut. For whatever reason, usually I cut those down on sawhorses out on the deck outside my door here. But in the winter, that's almost impossible to do. So I can fold this table down, right? And get the sheet up on it and slide, and then that would help. It would support this end of the sheet. And then of course the other end will go out onto my workbench like it normally does. So yeah, I'm thinking about that, right? And it's not really that big a deal because, like, this is all just screwed together. I said that in the video where I put this thing together. I made it so that it's just screwed together, not glued. The top is all solidly glued, of course, but the rest of it, the frame and all that, is not. So I can just take it apart, recycle the other parts, and have this, and I already measured it. It's it's exactly the right height for this thing to swing down and still clear that top up there. So it's kind of amazing in that way. It's almost like it was, I made it on purpose to go there. So back up here to this end of the shop, I think I have this wall pretty much done as far as everything that needs to be on here. Like, I've got the CNC mounted up there. Right beside is that big screen that I use with the computer. I put a board on the wall to mount all that stuff, nice and neat. I still have some cable management to take care of, but that's not a big deal. Bandsaw here that slides out so I can use it. Belt sander here that swings up so I can use it and folds down so it's out of the way. Also the spindle sander here that slides out so that I can use it on bigger things if I need to. And kind of the redheaded stepchild, I don't know if you're allowed to say that kind of thing anymore, is the vacuum that I made in the corner down here. And I'm thinking that I should probably build that in. Build an enclosure around that with a height like the top of it, level with this on the top of the spindle sander, because that doesn't change. The thing just slides out, right? So that would be more space there. It'd be another horizontal surface for me to put stuff on, right? Or maybe I could carve a big statue from wood and put it there. It'd be a pedestal for my sculpture. How about that? Anyway, so I was thinking about enclosing that and running a duct. This would be made from wood, plywood, right? It'd be like a box that goes across that has blast gates in it for each of these tools. And then come over here to where the CNC is, with just a hole that would close for me to put the hose in so I could vacuum up there. Because this thing, when it's operating, the dust just drops, right? That's, big benefit of it being vertical. It drops onto that table. And when I was surfacing the bed, it made a lot of dust. It made a lot of dust there, on the floor in front of it, and throughout the shop. But that's MDF, and that was 6 square feet of MDF, taking a full 1/16 of an inch off. So quite a bit of cutting there. And then before that, I cut all those slats on the table saw. So there was quite a lot of MDF in the shop, in other words. And my thinking here is that, this thing running occasionally, because I don't use it very often, I don't need to worry about it too much. Unless I'm doing a great quantity of stuff, I don't see any reason to get, proactive about the dust collection, because it'll just fall on the bench. I can get it with my dustpan to begin with, and then vacuum it up with the hose through the duct that I have ending over here. But then this thing would be enclosed, and the bucket that I have here, which is really, in hindsight, is too big, right? That holds a lot of stuff. Right? So I could probably go 3 years before I would have to clean that bucket out. All right, so I would make a door on the front here to open up, to pull the bucket out, and otherwise that would stay in there. And then the short times that it would run, it wouldn't overheat, because it would be short times that it would run. And also it would be a lot quieter because it'd be in there. And I tried to do something to mitigate the sound through it as well. Try a couple of different techniques for, to soundproof it. Okay, because I know a little bit more about soundproofing and acoustic treatment and all that now. So I could try that out here.
I heard that you were feeling ill, headache, fever, and a chill. I came to help restore your pluck, 'cause I'm the nurse who likes to